We have another fabulous becoming like case study here. I am so delighted to introduce to you guys Patrick from Boston, who has been with me for 6 months now. And I cannot wait to get into your story because you're enrolled in two programs of mine at the same time, which is so fun. So I can't wait to have everybody hear your story and just learn more about you. But I'd love for you to start off. Can you just tell me, what's your name, where you're located, how long you've been in hair, just kind of the stats?
Yeah, my name is Patrick James. I am from, I'll say New England, but I'm from Boston. I've
Okay.
been working in hair for 12 years now, and I opened up my own suite 2 years ago to the month.
Oh, hey, happy
Yeah,
anniversary month.
thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's right, because I remember that you did a glow up on your salon during
Mhm.
your time here in Becoming Light, which was so cool to watch. I loved
Yeah.
all of the details that you put in. It's always so fun to watch what everybody does with the design of their space. Cool. Well, I would love to learn more about why would something like Becoming Light, which is a business and a healing mentorship, interest you? Like, please tell me more about your story.
So I have always felt that there was a more than just a physical component to what I do as a hairstylist. And I
Yes.
found myself constantly being referred to as a therapist, or
Nice.
you know what I mean? Like
Oh
that.
yeah, I had an old client who literally like in her bio was like therapist. And I was like, cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I also found two very interesting things. The first one was that, unlike any other profession in the world, the one thing that makes us different is that we get physical touch with our clients.
Yes.
Huge. It
Huge.
it changes the way people communicate with you, even your therapist. And I found myself realizing that people were unloading to me things they would not tell their therapist because
Hmm.
A, they knew their therapist would put them in check, but B, they also had this breakdown of vulnerability because there was that physical contact. And then I kind of started realizing that that bridge between the fact that I'm working on them physically and I'm touching them physically, but really I'm having conversations with them day in and day out about their life,
Yeah.
kind of made me realize this is the next logical step for all hairstylists to move into an understanding of psyche, of holistics, of just the total body as not just what we care for being hair.
Mm.
And
Yeah,
I've been
so
studying you
real.
for a while. I'd seen you come up a few times.
Oh, tell me more. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
you've been
So
studying me. It's great. I
uh,
love it.
I had, when I first opened, and I believe in education. I think
Yeah.
first and foremost, we all should be educating ourselves best we can, right? So
Yep.
every year I commit as a business owner to entering into some kind of training program.
Cool.
In the first year that I was in business, I wanted to focus on making sure that the back end was up to par. I
Yeah.
knew how to deal with ordering, shipping, receiving, booking, all that
Mhm.
kind of stuff. So I went with a module that was more just very much focused on the logistics and the frameworks of a successful business period.
Totally.
This this whole year that I did that, it was like there was a lot of push and pull in my career because I was enjoying the new aspects of learning, but I didn't feel in alignment with a lot of what I was being taught on a vibrational marketing, on a vibrational business level.
Hmm.
And I kept having your business ads come up that whole year.
Oh,
Just,
really?
yeah, ads of you doing crystal healing over a sink. Sometimes it would just be you like in a still frame, and it would just be questions like, are you feeling the burnout? All those kinds of things. And I
Hmm.
just kept watching and I just kept seeing what was going on. I finished that program. And it was right around Christmas that you and I spoke the first time. And I was like,
Hmm.
okay, I definitely think that this year needs to be the pivot year that I start really focusing on what I know to be true, which is that hairstyling is evolving. And if we're not at that leading edge, then as far as I'm concerned, we're going to be left behind.
I agree.
So you entered in, and it was probably the first week that I noticed massive change.
Oh, I
in-
love this. Thank you for
yeah,
talking about that because I think, what we typically can think is, oh my God, it's gonna like take like 5 months or 6 months and da 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 da. So thank you for talking about like, here's what you can expect within like 1 week.
it
Please
was
go
within the
on.
first, I had just, in fact, I was in one of those spaces where I was ahead behind because I wasn't technically starting yet, but
Sure.
I jumped ahead of the game. So I went through all of your holistic accelerator in,
Mhm.
um,
Oh yeah, the entry offer that I have. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. And that was what I mean when I say like, even that, just the entry offer in and of itself, the moment we got into money mindset, that 1 10-minute video took me probably a week and a half to digest.
Amazing.
I watched it probably 4 times. Like I needed to keep
I do
watching it
that too
over.
with my coaches. Yeah.
I am very well versed in attraction based understanding. I'm very well versed in the power of mindset and positivity and understanding how to like colonize your brain. This
Mm,
was something else. It was a way that I'd never seen before for a person to go in and really fine tune what wasn't working and really figure out what wasn't working.
yeah.
I think sometimes we focus on so many big generals, and you were really like nitty gritty,
Nice.
and it was really cool.
Oh, I'm so glad. That's awesome to hear.
That was the big one. And then from there, that was actually the kind of like the hook line that was needed for me to go, okay, I want this.
Right.
I think when we start off in any coaching program of any kind, there's that first few weeks of like, will this or won't this? Are they or aren't they? Can they
Hmm.
or they? And
It's like
when,
fear and excitement.
yeah, and
Yeah.
when that first thing hits that fast, it does give you like that supercharge of like, oh, I think I found my program. I think
Yeah.
this is it.
That's awesome.
And it was because if it, I mean, honestly, for me to join into the second module so like wholeheartedly and
Hmm.
start moving into your coaching program, I mean, I had to think that it was worth it.
Yeah, for sure. Which is
I
why that exists. It helps people to like really get, just tons of value and really get just a bird's eye view into what we're about and like what we're creating. Cause it's definitely not just an I container, it's a we container. So that's awesome that you got that. Well, I know we could probably talk for literally hours about all of the cool like process and for you and becoming light because it's been five over 5 months now. So, but I'd love to hear some of that more about your process over these past 5 months together of what you really enjoyed.
um, I think that what I would like to highlight, if I were to like
Yeah.
divulge this to other people, because like there are things that I enjoyed that were for me, and then there are things that I
Yeah.
enjoyed that like, no, the reasons why this is special. And one of the reasons why this particular program is special is because it doesn't prescribe to an expected timeline. It doesn't prescribe to an
Mm,
expected amount of work every week. I remember in our opening call, like one of the first things I ever said to you is, look, I am in a really big relationship that's about to take some serious important turns. He is in the final year of school. I'm running
yeah.
a full-time business. I just lost my only parent. My sister has a severe disability. I have a lot of moving parts in my life, and I can't necessarily guarantee a certain amount of time per day or a certain amount of time per week. And you said, can you guarantee 4 hours a week? And I was like,
Yeah.
in the whole week? And you were like, yeah, I don't care when. You can do 4 hours all in one day. You can split it up and do an hour a day. I don't care how you do it, but can you commit to this program 4 hours a week? And I was like, of course. And just knowing that I had that freedom of structure to function in my life the way I work best, which is definitely like a non structured lifestyle, was amazing.
100%.
I was able to pick this up at 6 o'clock at night if that's when I had the time and the motivation to do it, or pick it up at 8 o'clock in the morning if that was when I had the time and motivation to do it, and never feel guilty that I wasn't doing it when I said I was supposed to. And
Sure.
you gave really easy and clear goalposts to hit so that even if that was happening, where it was like, okay, well, I did the brunt of my work on Tuesday night and then Wednesday morning, and I haven't touched it since. That didn't matter because the amount of work you expected in a week was realistic.
Yes. Yeah. Good.
That's probably the part that really.
But that's great though. Yeah. So like you really got a lot of fruits, it sounds like, within like a realistic time frame. So you can enjoy the rest of your life, because it's the whole freaking purpose, is so that you can enjoy the rest of your life and you're not constantly working in your business. Awesome. Well, I'd love to hear like what are the fruits, right? So I always want to look at something and be like, okay, cool, like I like this person, I love what they're saying, but like what are the fruits? So like what are some of the fruits for you as a result of your time so far?
So when I first started the program, I was afraid to, on any social format whatsoever, declare myself a healer, a guide, an energetic worker
Sure.
whatsoever. And
Mhm.
that was probably the first big win, was me finding the confidence to actually shift on my social medias and publicly declare this is something that I do. This is who I am.
Yeah, it's huge.
That one was big. I would definitely say finding for me, and I'm sure for most other stylists or people getting into holistics, there is an important component to structure. Even if
Mhm.
you're, an unstructured person, like knowing that you have a framework in the back of your mind, like this is how I do it every time. This is what I'm going to do to like measure my results. This
Yes.
is how I'm going to see if what I'm doing is effective. That's like probably the thing that scared me most about healing work at all, was
Yeah.
knowing that when I was working on a client before this program, I had no way of knowing if what I did worked other than they're telling me.
Sure,
I
but it
had
still
no,
felt a little loosey goosey.
right. And there
Yeah.
was no way for me to actually figure out, like, am I getting better? How do I know? How do I check? How do
Mhm.
I ensure as a scientist that, like, when I am doing this, I am doing this the same way every single time, so I can ensure that the results aren't skewed.
Yeah.
And I would say my third big one was getting over my fear of needing to be perfect in order to do it.
Oh, that's so big for us type A perfectionists, though. Like, that's a biggie.
That was a big one. Like the whole sense of, oh, I'm having a bad day, I should probably not do a healing session because how can I heal someone if I'm in a funk?
Uh-huh.
That one was a big one.
That's huge.
Well, how do I offer somebody a healing container for trauma if I'm not healed from my own trauma?
Oh my God, so
All of
real.
those, right? It was Those were the rough ones for me. It's
Those are the
funny.
roadblocks that keep people stuck for literally years. Like, they'll just not take action because of that one like roadblock. So
And
it's a huge win.
it's a big honestly, it happened mostly because there was, first of all, those one-on-ones that were happening in our
Yeah.
breakout room.
Yeah.
Those were incredible because they were creating safe containers to practice without feeling the pressure,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. The
Then
community is great.
once I built that up a little bit, it felt safe with at least the closer
Yeah.
clients that I had to go, hey, I've been practicing this, I want to try it out and see how you feel and what you think. But then to get the framework for pens and to like be able to actually, and it's not, to be able to actually have that framework set up for me so that it's not something I have to figure out and create for myself,
Yeah.
was
Saves you
really,
time.
it doesn't just save me time, it saves me a lot of that valuable mental energy that I could realistically be using on my clients.
Yeah.
I think that's that little caveat that we always forget about when we're talking about like saving time, is it's not just the time saved, it's the effort that was put in during that time that we can now put elsewhere. And you give us that.
Mm.
A big that's a big nugget. Like
Yeah.
I find the I you know, I find the important things.
Yeah. You're thorough. Yeah. Well, I'd love to hear about how did this impact your life as a whole, because this is, of course, not just a business. It's really, to help you, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So of course it's gonna impact the rest of your life. So I'd love to hear some more about that.
This impacted my timing,
Okay.
shifting to time-based pricing, like really a time-based pricing and not
Mm.
a time-based pricing that was hidden behind a service menu, but like an
Okay.
actual time-based pricing,
Okay.
gave me a lot more control over my schedule. And
Mm,
that was probably the biggest one that was life related outside of just business, where
sure.
suddenly I was going about clients that, let's say, for example, you have that client that has more hair than Chewbacca's mother, and you never know exactly how long it's going to take for somebody. Like they come in and they could realistically just be a simple root color, which still will take you like an hour and 45 minutes, right?
Mhm. Oh yeah.
Or it could be somebody that like they're coming in and instead of a simple root color, they want a partial foil and they don't realize that a partial foil on them takes forever. And so
Hmm.
now you were thinking, oh, they're my last clients of the day. I'll be out today by like 3:30. And suddenly you're like, I'm not going to be done till 6.
Hmm.
I am here all day. That wasn't fun for me. But to know that clients know their hair and know their sessions with me well enough to be like, oh, I'm with him for about 2 hours. I'm with him for about 3 hours.
Hmm.
Oh, I'm usually with him for longer than 4 hours. So I should probably talk to him about what I want. Suddenly, I had no questions on a Friday night or a Saturday when I was going to be done work. Like I was done when my schedule said I was done, which was
That's beautiful. That's wonderful because, of course, people
12 years.
pleasing, lacking boundaries around it, lacking clarity
Huge.
around it, and being able to, God, you're taking me back to a time like 10 years ago with my ex-husband when I did exactly what you're talking about. Like I lived that in my experience, and I would come home so fried, and my ex-husband would want to talk to me and relate, and I'd be like, like I would actually like cut him off and be like, I cannot hold for you. Like, I need you to be quiet and like leave me alone. And I need to go hide. I need about 2,000 calories and I need to hide in a bathtub.
Yeah.
It was such a regular part of my life. And I was like, this is just how life is.
That's, I think, what most hairstylists believe life is supposed to be. We're taught that this grind is the way you find success. And
Yeah.
you really do offer a different modality of money making. It's not just
Hmm.
the turnover is key and get on that hamster wheel and run, 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 run. It's how realistically, like how do you want to live your life? And then I mean, you did that in mind. So I assume you do that in every call at some point where you're like, what kind
Yes.
of style are you looking to live? Do you want
Yeah.
to be 40 hours? Do you want to be working 20 hours? Let's talk about what that looks like ideally for you. And then let's work backwards from that. And
Hmm.
for you to be able to customize every single one of us and have a different action plan for each of us that fits with our life, and then
Yeah.
only expect realistically once a week to be in a community call where we can practice and work together and uplift each other. That's nothing. Hey, spend an hour with me a week and change your life.
Hmm. Change your life. Nice.
Right? Pretty cool.
Pretty cool. And you do it again.
I would do a program with you again, no matter what if you said to me, hey, I have a new program that I think works for you, I don't even need you to sell me on what it is. If you're coming to me and you're like, this is for you, I do it.
Well, yeah, because you did.
Right.
Because
Well,
now you're coaching. Now you're becoming a holistic coach. You already are a holistic coach, but it's very fun. Um, I know that there's so many people like you out in the world who don't know that you exist. So I would love for you, to give like a piece of advice to somebody who's almost like a past version of you. Like what would be like a piece of advice that you would give that person who's watching this?
I would definitely suggest this program for one.
Okay,
Uh,
cool.
I do think that there is, for anybody in a position where they know that they are not just styling hair and that they're doing more for their clients when they're
Yeah.
sitting in the chair, but maybe they haven't quite figured out or pinpointed exactly what that means to them. This is a really great space because of the amount of healing options that you're teaching. I mean, you go through sound healing, you go through chakra healing, you go through crystal healing, you go through trance work, meditation very lightly, you
Mhm.
go through all of these different modes, and people get all of it's sort of like being able to go up to the buffet of healing modalities and taking a little bit from each place, going
Yeah.
down and sitting down and digesting it slowly and deciding for yourself, is this who I am? Is this what I do? Is this what I like? So
Mhm.
I've come out knowing myself better from this. And I don't think there's a lot of coaching containing programs that do that, especially at your price point. So I would
Thanks.
say, like, this is really what I would suggest is try this out. I mean, the 90-day would give you just as much, but frankly, if you're the kind of stylist that, and this is where I would say, depending on how past version of me you are, if
Mhm.
you're still all invigorated and excited, probably that 90-day. But if you're starting to feel that little sense of, I don't know how to be in alignment with my industry anymore, I'm not really sure how I feel about chemicals, I don't know how I feel about, the hustle and bustle and the grinding and the price gouging and the tip culture and all these different things that are going on, then definitely do the longer program and kind of get as much as you can out of being surrounded by high high success business owners that are doing the same thing you're doing and that are feeling the same way you're feeling and going through the same thing you're going through.
Yeah.
I had a lot of people through the community that whenever I would talk about things in our breakout meetings or whenever I'd bring something up in Slack, they'd come out to me and be like, hey, I was not going to bring that up, but I was feeling the same way.
Yeah.
Or it just kept happening over and
It
over and over.
happens. It's happened for 5 years. So that's why it's always so great when somebody shares because it's totally happening with somebody else.
That's what I'd say is do it. Just
Just do
take
it.
the trust fall.
Cool. How can people find you and connect with you if they want to learn more about you?
They can definitely direct message me on Facebook through the Becoming Light channel or through Holistic
Coming Light
Accelerator.
is private.
Oh, then
Ah,
my Instagram,
what's your Instagram?
patrick.james.hair.
Amazing.
Uh, that's probably the best container to find me if you're not through Facebook.
Gotcha. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Mwah. I love you. I mean it. So fun. It's just the beginning.
I
We're,
know.
we're still in Q2 of 24, which is great.
I have you for another few months.
Mm-hmm.